So you are here at the workshop for building your schedule one block at a time, which is essentially at its core a time management workshop. And so what we're going to be talking about today is how to really manage your time and building your schedule on a weekly basis to where you feel like you have control of the time that you do and the hours that you do have in your day, and really feel like you can walk away from this workshop with a schedule that you have where essentially, like it says, that you built one block at a time. You've time blocked your time into ways that is going to make your schedule work the best and most effectively for you. Somebody has entered the room. My name is Lauren Bridges, and I'm the Assistant Director for Transition Programs in the Center for Student Success. I've been working in this office for about 4.5 years and have enjoyed my opportunities to chat with both first-year students, transfer students, sophomore students. I primarily work with our sophomore and transfer student populations. And many of you on Zoom and in person know, because you are in some of our sophomore programs. But I'm excited that you're here today to learn. I am by no means a time management expert, but I do enjoy speaking on the topic because I follow this exact method of how I build my schedule out to make sure that I'm making the best use of my time myself. Since it's just two of you, I'm just going to go ahead and sit so that y'all can just see the presentation. I don't want to walk in front of you, Max. So today what we'll learn is kind of why time management, why this idea of we need to be building our schedules and managing our time. Then 2, some approaches to managing your time, which are the building block schedule. And then 3, just really putting in and doing the work. First, why is time management important? What do y'all think? Why are y'all wanting to learn more about scheduling your time? Anybody care to share? So you can have more free time. Yes, it's a great one. We all love free time. Get things done. Yes. So it's important so we can get things done. We can be productive in the ways that we need to be productive. And then we can still feel like we have free time and we're not frantically scrambling around using all of the time that we have, figuring out what we need to be doing and how we can be effective. If we are managing our time well, we know what we have to do, we're carrying it out, and then we still have time for ourselves. Which leads me to my next series of questions. How many hours are there in a week? There are 168. So when we're thinking about time, how many times have we thought there's not enough hours in the day or there's just not enough hours in the week? Well, in fact, there are a lot of hours in a week. There's 168 of them. And so if we're scheduling and time blocking them appropriately, then we should have more than enough time to accomplish everything that we have on our plates. And if we still find that there's just not enough time, maybe there's time to take it is time to take things off of our plate. What is the recommended amount of sleep per day? That is, what do y'all think? Yes, 8 hours of sleep. As college students, I understand that you may not always be getting 8 hours of sleep, but that is the recommended amount of sleep per day. So if we are looking at hours in a week and we're saying we're going to focus on getting 8 hours of sleep a day, which for the most part I do and highly recommend, then 56 hours of the week we're actually going to be sleeping. So I'm going to go ahead and block that time off for y'all. You are going to have 8 hours of your day for a week blocked off of your schedule. So 56 hours a week, which leaves us, we're down to 112 hours a week. Let's see what we can do with those hours. Then you want to say, okay, well, how much time do I spend per week getting ready, traveling to and from class and eating, where I'm not really able to do anything else, but just focusing on my daily tasks and needs as far as it, getting up, taking a shower, getting dressed, traveling to class. That might be 3 hours a day between meals and travel to and from home, things like that. So that puts us down now to 91 hours of time a week that we have to block off. How much time do you spend in class? If you are taking a 15-hour course load, that means you are typically in class about 15 hours a week. So those are hours, again, that we know that we cannot schedule anywhere else. If you're taking online classes, this might look a little different, but ideally the hours that you are taking for an online class, you would set aside that time each week to focus on that class specifically. So even in that instance, I would still leave your hours at about, 15, 18, depending on the number of classes, 16 hours, however many hours you're taking. But let's just say on average, 15 hours a week. So now we're down to 76 hours a week that we get to block off or schedule to block. How much time a week do you plan to work? Some of you may work a full part-time job and you're working 20 hours a week. So if you take away the 20 hours a week that you're working, you can see our time is getting narrower and narrower. We're down to just 56 hours a week. How much time will you study and do homework? Y'all know your professors have probably told you since you've been at Southern Miss, for every hour inside the classroom, you should be spending 2 to 3 hours outside the classroom. Well, this isn't quite that, but let's just assume that you're going to spend about 21 hours a week, say 3 hours a day, studying and doing homework outside of class. So taking away those 21 hours, we're down to 35 hours a week, 7 days a week. That leaves us with 5 hours a day, right? So that leaves us with just 5 hours to exercise, talk to friends, go to a student organization meeting, meet with your professor, watch Netflix, go on a date, all those things that you want to do to have free time. We're now down to just 5 hours a day. And so that's why it's so important for us to make sure that we are appropriately scheduling the time that we do have so that we can protect those precious 5 hours, right? So that kind of leads us, this method and talking through these things, that kind of leads us into this approach of 888. So my tips for managing your time really are to use this 888 approach to schedule block your time, which is what we're about to do together, and then to use a time management tool. And I'll show you exactly, we're gonna practice together today using one tool in particular. And it's one of many that I recommend. So the 888 approach is this idea that you are chunking your time and blocking your time, like the workshop is called, to ensure a healthy balance. So if you've got 24 hours in a day, we want to make sure that we're balancing it all. We're managing our daily responsibilities and allowing time for ourselves. So we break it down into 3 categories, similarly to the categories that we just talked through with my series of questions. We have school, we have sleep, and we have social or personal. So we know that a well-balanced day will include 8 hours of each, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of time that you're in class or focusing on school-related work, and then 8 hours that you are saving for yourself. And some of that might be, again, like we said a minute ago, traveling to and from class, eating lunch. But again, it's time that you're not spending sleeping or doing schoolwork. If you're somebody who works a job or works even upward to 20 hours a week, unfortunately, that does kind of in this approach cut into your social time. But hopefully that job is allowing you some funds to do some fun and social things on your own. So we'll just kind of consider it into that category in this approach. Now we want to talk about scheduling your time. So using a planner, a virtual calendar, or a scheduling app like My Homework to create a schedule. Do not rely on Canvas solely to keep you on track. How many of you have maybe just opened up Canvas and been like, what do I need to focus on today, right? And really not having a clear-cut plan. So we're going to talk about how you can make sure that you have a clear-cut plan that is easy to follow. My tips for doing this, or the steps really for doing this and what we're going to do together in a minute, like I said, is number 1, to make notes and checklists. So you want to write down everything that's in your mind and get it down on paper. That's everything that you think that you've got to do, the things that are listed in Canvas, just whatever it is that you know that is a task that needs to be done. Maybe it needs to be read chapter 3 for a class tomorrow, study my notes from biology class today, write the first page of my paper that's due next week. Whatever it is, you want to make notes and checklists of the things that you need to be accomplishing. Next, you want to prioritize those tasks. So what is the most important things? What things absolutely have to get done this week? And maybe what is the order of priority that they need to get done in? say it's Sunday and you're doing this. This is a task that I like to do on maybe Friday at the end of the day for the next week, or maybe on Sunday or first thing Monday morning to kind of help get my week scheduled and time blocked appropriately. And so I'll say, what is the thing that definitely needs to get done first? And I might schedule the top 3 priority things as all things that I need to do on Monday. If I don't get anything else done on Monday, at least I know that the things with the highest priority were done first. So you write everything down and you make lists. And then you go in and you're going to prioritize those things. What are the things that definitely have to happen and in what order? Then you're going to go to your calendar and you're going to schedule them. You're going to build your schedule one block at a time. Then you have to have a little bit of what I call self-management, which is essentially just discipline to actually look at that calendar that you created and carry out the plan that you put in place. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to build my schedule for the week, one block at a time, looking at everything I need to do. But then if you don't ever reference it again or don't use it, it's really not going to be that helpful, right? And so making sure that you have created a system that is going to work really well for you, and then evaluating at the end of the week, is this something that is working for me? Is this no longer working for me? Do I see this as a benefit? And from there, you can make minor changes and tweaks to something that is going to work really best for you. And then from there, you repeat. So you do this once a week, every schedule you build, because every week your schedule is going to look different, right? It's not like you have the exact same assignments every week. Maybe in some classes, it's like, okay, every Tuesday I have a quiz due, but some classes it's going to be and it's going to be different across the board. You're going to have exams at different times. You're going to have papers due. You're going to have chapters to read. You're going to have different things that are going to be due at different times. So every week is going to look different. And you want to repeat this process of building your calendar one block at a time. So now here comes the part where you get to practice. What we're going to use is the Microsoft Outlook calendar, which is a built-in scheduling tool at Southern Miss. You can also use a paper planner like I have pictured there at the bottom. But for this purpose of the workshop today, I'd really like us to give a shot at the Microsoft Outlook calendar. So when you are using Southern Miss webmail, you should have the ability to click from the little email icon over to the calendar icon. And when you pull it up on a desktop, it looks very similar to this, or it looks something like this. This is just an example I found on Google. So I'm not really sure what some of those things say. It all seems to be appropriate, but this is not my personal calendar. So when you look at it at a month at a glance, it kind of looks like this. When you look at it at a week glance, it looks like this top picture. So each day, each one of those columns is a different day. So looking at this picture at the top, this is essentially what y'all are about to do. We're going to put into practice to see what your calendar will look like. So let's say at this example in the top, Monday is in that first column. So it looks like the very first 30 minutes of the day, they've got some time blocked off. That's really small. I don't expect y'all to read it, but it actually says answer emails, which is a really nice thing for a professional to do first thing on a Monday morning. I don't expect college students to wake up first thing on a Monday morning and say, I'm going to tackle those emails. But this is just where this particular person has decided that this is maybe the one really great thing and a task that I need to do on Monday morning. Maybe they work in a field where emails would have come in over the weekend. And so for them, this is a priority task, getting back to those emails that came in over the weekend, or maybe things that came in on Friday. It is the priority for those things to get done first thing Monday morning. Then you go down and you see a couple things blocked off in pink. Let's just say, for example, in this scenario, that those are classes. So from maybe 9 to 11, you've blocked off your calendar and you've put it in pink because that's when you'll be in class. You can see the other times that are pink. Let's just assume those are also other times that this person has class. So let's see, it looks like they have a couple classes Monday morning, maybe a longer class on Tuesday afternoon, and looks like maybe the length of a lab on Friday afternoon, if you're going to assume that those time blocks are a class. You can block off your calendar just like this. You can even set your classes up as recurring, so that they show up and they're already blocked off every single week. It's not something you have to go in and do every week. You set it up at the beginning of the semester. You set it up to recur every week until May 12th or whenever graduation is, or the end of the semester is. And now your time in your calendar is completely blocked off for class. Next thing you want to do is you want to go in and block off your work times. So if you work a consistent schedule, then again, you can set those at reoccurring times. If you're somebody who gets your schedule maybe just 1 week in advance, you go in as soon as you get your schedule and you block off your schedule for the next week with all of the times that you have class. Let's assume in this scenario, maybe the blue is when somebody has blocked off for work. I think I said class a minute ago. I meant work. So we've got the pink times that are blocked off. Let's say are class. We've got the blue times that are blocked off. Maybe that's work. And it looks like they have sprinkled in some other things that are both in yellow and green. This is where this particular tool comes into place. This is where we're taking note of our notes and our checklists. And then we're looking at that priority list that we made. And then we're going into our schedule and we're building it one block at a time. We're blocking off 30 minutes here to respond to an email from my professor, 1 hour here to review my biology notes within an hour of getting out of biology class. So it'll be fresh in my mind and I can make sure that my chicken scratch is actually legible and something that I can understand when I come back to study it again in 2 days. Maybe you are taking the 2 hours between your classes to study for a French exam that you have the next day. Whatever that looks like, whatever items are on your checklist, whatever the priority is, you're going in and you're physically building them into your schedule. This is what it would look like on a month basis to use that calendar. You can see here that you can create a new appointment. This is what the home screen looks like. It's going to look a little bit different for y'all on the Southern Miss webmail. Here on the side on your email, this is the little icons I was talking about. So you've got your email icon right under that. You should have your little calendar icon. You should be able to click on that and see something that looks very similar to this or this, where you can physically go in and block your schedule. So I'm going to come back here and I want y'all to go ahead and we're going to practice this together. So if you don't have anything to write with or type on, you make a new note maybe on your phone and go ahead and think about, maybe look at Canvas. What are the things that you have coming up for the next week? Today is Wednesday. So I would like us to get ahead of the game and look at, well, next week is spring break, so that's not going to be helpful. Let's just go ahead and do the rest of the week, okay? Since next week is spring break, y'all hopefully will have a pretty clear calendar. But go ahead and make a list of notes and checklists, the action items, the things that you need to be working on, the things that need to get done over the next couple of days. Go ahead and make that list. I'm going to give y'all about 1 minute to do this. Okay, now that you have your list, I want you to go ahead and prioritize them. So put a number out next to each one, with 1 being the most important thing, the thing that definitely needs to get done, and going down from there. All right, so now we've got our notes and our checklists, and we have our prioritization. Let's go into the calendars and start scheduling. So pull up your calendar, maybe on your phone, pull up your Southern Miss webmail. If you are using a smartphone, or if you, I'm not as familiar with phones that are not an iPhone, just because that is what I have. But on my iPhone, I can use the calendar app is connected to my Southern Miss calendar. And so I can make edits there and see it all in one time. But what I want you to do is to block off your classes, block off work, and then let's start putting in all of those things on your checklist. So everything that you wrote down gets a place in your calendar of when realistically you think you're going to do it. And so I'm going to keep talking while y'all think through this, but things that you need to think about as you're going through this process. When will I make time to eat? Food is important, right? We have to fuel our bodies in order to fuel our minds, and making sure that we eat is really important. I never want you to feel like you have to block out time to work through lunch to make the most of it. You should definitely take a dinner break. So make sure that you're not scheduling things back to back to back. And then you're like, oh, well, now I have to eat. So then what happens is you do take a dinner break and then you don't follow your schedule, which in turn means you're not taking it seriously. And then you just give up on this method altogether. So you have to make the method work for you. Other things are, let's try to stay away from blocking things in like 3 and 4 hour stretches, unless you know and understand how to give yourself built-in breaks in that area. So if you're like, okay, for 4 hours on Monday night, I'm going to work on this paper that I really, really need to focus on. Is that a realistic amount of time for you? For some people, yes, as long as they're giving themselves breaks during that 4 hour time block. And for some people, they're going to say, no, I know myself. I know my attention span. I need to work on this paper for 2 hours on Monday and 2 hours on Tuesday, if I think that 4 hours is the amount of time that I'm going to need to appropriately create in my schedule. So think about what you know works for you, and think about food, think about meal times, think about taking breaks. Think realistically, am I really going to work on this project on Friday night? Or do I leave Friday night totally clear? You know, using the 8-8-8 approach that we talked about, you've got 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of class/academic related work, and 8 hours of social. If you want to sacrifice some of those social hours earlier in the week and focus it a little bit more heavily on your academics Monday through Thursday, and leave some of those later days much more open and free for social time, then that's absolutely something you can do. But every time you you put something somewhere, that's less white space somewhere else, right? So I'm referring to the white space, obviously, as the blanks on the calendar. I always want to say, look at your white space. Where are your blanks? Is that somewhere that you could be making the best use of your time? So for example, looking up at this example that you can see in the PowerPoint, on Tuesday, in that second column, there's a big blue at the top, there's a green, and then there's a pretty big gap between red. So for me, I'm thinking, I don't necessarily want to have to do schoolwork on Tuesday night, because Tuesday night is when I watch This Is Us. I don't know when This Is Us comes on. But Tuesday night is the night that I like to watch this. So let's make better use of my time in that big block I have in the afternoon. Sometimes I like to go back from my class and maybe take a nap at 2 o'clock, but instead in that 2 to 4 o'clock block, I'm going to do my schoolwork. And then I don't have to feel guilty about the fact that I'm going to Netflix and chill on Tuesday night. Right. So really thinking about, how can I make the most use of my time? So many times college students say, I just don't have enough time. And it's because they try to save everything for the end of the day. But looking at this particular calendar, if yours looked anything like that, I would say, look at your white space. Thursday morning, you've got a lot of time to really effectively and intentionally schedule some schoolwork. I understand that you want to sleep in, but look, if you slept in till 9, you'd still have about 2 hours to really get some work done, and then free up maybe some more of your time in the evening. A lot of times in the evening or when things are happening on campus, student activities are happening. You've got maybe some organizational meetings that you want to be a part of. SMAC is hosting something. There's a movie at the Joe Paul Theater that you want to go watch. All of those things are going to want to have, for the most part, are things that you're going to want to do in the evenings. So really being as intentional during the daytime as possible. If you're somebody who works at night, maybe you work at a restaurant, you're working the dinner shift, you have no choice but to schedule that academic time in the morning, right? If you're somebody who works on campus and you only work 8 to 5, Maybe it's a job where you're really busy the entire time you're there. Well, then maybe you're not going to have any choice but to schedule some of those academic components in the evenings. Everybody's schedule is going to look different, but every week, if you're sitting down and you're saying, here's what I need to do, I need to prioritize this on this day. Here's how many hours I need to set aside for that. And then you basically create the block in your schedule to set the time aside to do it. Let's see. I'm going to show this slide. I'm not finished quite yet, but I'm just going to show this slide so I can get out of the PowerPoint and come back to see some people's faces that are on the Zoom as well. This is our office information. It's the Center for Student Success that hosts all of these Success Experts workshops. You can follow us on social media or find us in our office downstairs in Cook Library, Suite 138. Like I said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to the Zoom here. I would love to see what people's calendars look like. So I know that's a little harder for y'all to do on Zoom. If you want to show your screen for a minute and maybe show something on your phone, or if y'all want to show what your time blocking looks like, your calendars look like, you don't necessarily have to show, but I would love to hear and get some feedback from y'all on how you feel about your calendars now that you've blocked some time off in your day to get some of these things done. Kylie, did you do yours by hand? Yes, look at that. You're muted, so I can't hear if you're saying anything.
Yeah. Is it working?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. I couldn't tell. It wasn't lighting up. Yeah, I wrote it down kind of like hourly-ish.
Yeah.
And then I did like today and tomorrow because I don't really have anything to do Friday.
Yeah. So good. You've set times for yourself. The thing that I love about this is it helps you get rid of so much wasted time. You know, you think about, I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to do this big study session. And then you get there and you're like, okay, like, what am I going to work on? What's due? Let me pull up Canvas. What do I need to focus on today? This takes all of the guesswork out of it. If you do this on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the next week, whatever day works best for you to do this on, you sit down and at every point you never have to second guess, oh, dang, when is that math assignment due? You already know because at the beginning of the week, you put it into your schedule. You knew that you put it into your schedule at a time that gave you enough time to complete the assignment. And you just don't have to stress and worry about whether or not you're working on the assignment that has the highest priority at that time. But it looks so good. So see, and you've got your little color coordination going. I love it. For those of you that can't see, somebody else has just shared, and theirs looks very similar to what I showed on the screen, which is a weekly view where you can see some different colors. I'm going to turn the camera back on so I'm not just a talking logo for the moment. So it's an opportunity for you to really, like I said, take the guesswork out of it and really take control of your schedule. The days that I find myself really not being productive are the days that I have not blocked my time appropriately. It's like where I've said, okay, I'm going to try and get this and this done today, but I didn't actually block off time on my calendar, because then I end up maybe going to my coworker and asking what she did that weekend, or maybe I just get sucked into email and get sucked into another project. And at the end of the day, I look and I'm like, well, dang, these are the things that I really wanted to get done today, but I didn't actually schedule it in my calendar. I didn't build my schedule and completely block it off. And so then it became something that I failed to accomplish that day. And so when I sit down and I say, okay, here's the tasks that I have. And of course, I'm going to build in breaks for myself. I'm not going to be chained to my desk. I'm going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. I'm going to want to get up and chat with my coworkers. I'm going to get up and get a drink from the water fountain. You know, I try to schedule things in like 30 or 45-minute time blocks for me, because then I know that at this time I'm going to get something done. And then it gives me an opportunity to get up, do something else, and then refocus on my next task. Again, taking the guesswork out of what is it that I need to be working on today? I've already kind of got it figured out because I built my schedule at the beginning of the week. What takeaways? I'd love to hear maybe some takeaways. If somebody learned something new today, what that new thing would be, or maybe if you didn't necessarily learn something new, what is something that maybe you're re-encouraged for today? So if y'all are on Zoom, I'd love for you to unmute and just share one thing that maybe you learned or that you feel more encouraged by after this session. Anybody want to share?
I don't normally use a calendar. I normally do my notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the fact you've got the first step down, you've got your notes and things that you got to do, you're keeping a list on your phone, but putting it into that calendar, again, just holds you accountable to when you're going to do something and making sure that you're holding fast to deadlines as well.
It kind of helps you figure out how you're going to manage your day. It sort of puts you in a different direction. Yeah. Helps you really feel like now I have a plan for the day. Like you have control. Yes, you have control. Absolutely. And that's the ultimate thing is, it's hard when I hear people say, I just don't have enough time. Because 9 times out of 10, it's just that we are not controlling our day in the best way possible. Now, I am not perfect at this by any means. I would show you all my calendar, but it's a hot mess right now. And I don't do this every day, but the days that I feel the most productive and the days that I feel the most accomplished are the days that I'm following this schedule because again, just like Max said, I feel like I have more control in my day. And for me, when I feel like the day is spiraling out of control or I have a mental running to-do list and things are unfortunately just not getting checked off of it, that is a really big source for me for stress and anxiety. And then if the stress and anxiety start to take over too much, then I get into this place of like, I just want to go lay on the couch and not do anything. Right. And then the anxiety and the stress can start to build even more because every day that I feel like I can't get out of it, I'm getting more and more behind. Right. And so this really helps me to feel that there's control in my day. I hope that y'all find that it helps you to feel that it puts you back in the driver's seat of managing your calendar and managing those 24 hours that you have. And again, really just helps with the stress and anxiety because so many of us feel that way, especially in college because of the overwhelming to-do list, the overwhelming amount of academic work we feel like we have to do, and staying on top of things, not waiting till the last minute, not procrastinating. This method is going to help with all of those things, and not procrastinating is really going to help with stress level as well. And of course, it helps with academic performance. So absolutely no reason why we shouldn't all be trying this method. Amani said that she feels more encouraged to prioritize her time more as a way to stay disciplined with the goals and the things that she wants to get done. Absolutely. And you don't just have to do this for your schoolwork. Obviously, we want you to do it for your academic work because we want you to prioritize your academics because that's why we're in school, right? But obviously, there are other things that we want to do. If you're somebody who's like, I'm having a hard time finding the time in the day to go to the gym, and one of your goals is that you want to go to the gym more, then you can schedule that time in your day. I'm not going to work on schoolwork at all at 5 o'clock because every day at 5 o'clock, I'm going to the gym. And so then that helps you get one step closer to accomplishing your goal. Even if putting in your calendar is, I'm going to check in on my goals today. I'm going to see where I'm at on my goals, or what's one thing that I can do to push towards a goal this week, and where can I put that one thing on my calendar? So really, like Amani said, helping to stay disciplined with accomplishing the things that you want to get done. And does anybody else on Zoom want to share maybe something new or something they feel encouraged by after the session?
I think that I can say for sure, this isn't something I learned today. It's something I've learned over the course of the semester, but making a little checklist and like actually checking stuff off honestly just makes me feel a lot better. Like I feel like I'm being productive, like
feel the release.
If it's just like going to class. Yeah,
not everybody is a checklist person, but I feel you on that because I definitely am. But I also use notes on my phone, like Angel said, and they have a checklist feature, the little bubbles on your phone. So even if you're a digital person and you prefer iPhone, whatever phone you have, if you prefer phone lists, mine has the little bubbles, and I get a lot of satisfaction clicking that little bubble and checking the things off. Layla said she kind of likes going to the grocery, kind of like when you go to the grocery store and get everything on the list. Yes, I actually use an iPhone note with the little checklists as my grocery list. And because I feel super tech savvy, I can share that grocery list with my husband, and then he can go to the grocery store and get everything. And we can see what maybe the store was out of or whatever by what's not checked off the list. Exactly right. Y'all didn't know I was going to be sharing your grocery prep secrets today too, on top of that. Any other final thoughts? Any questions that anybody has?
All right. Well, that is all I have for y'all today. I appreciate you coming. I hope that you feel a little bit renewed and taking back your schedule and understanding how you can build it one block at a time. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to our office. We're in the Center for Student Success downstairs. We're always there to help. You can also go to our website and click make an appointment and make an appointment with any of our staff members to talk about this or study skills or test strategies. We're always there to lend a helping hand. So thanks again, y'all. I've got your names in the chat to mark you off for your attendance today, and I will see y'all next time.